Good morning. Welcome to week 3 of Mental Health Awareness Month. It's been a good stretch to go through. If you remember the first week, just defining what mental health is for each of you, like this idea of know why you do the things you do. Last week was at length about how to find or how to access or what to expect with support networks, with support groups, because when you don't have the connection in your own support network, sometimes it's helpful to connect with the groups that exist around us. And fortunately, in our community, there are plenty to be able to track down and even pushing the online version that exists. And this week shifts a little bit to just talking about the actual specifics. I mean, an awareness month probably isn't the same if you're not sharing why this month is so crucial for people to be aware of. So I've shared a link to NAMI, which is a national organization that keeps track of kind of the trends in mental health. And so I'll read some of those stats this morning. It really stood out to me, but it's been shared a couple different ways, and just encourage you to be able to do that and take a look at it and see what you can learn. In fact, that's one of those exercises this week, just to ask people to take time and be able to identify something either we've talked about or you've read from the emails or you read through this external resource, and be able to commit that to memory or be able to have it ready to go if somebody asks, because that's a part of the overall, I'd say, purpose of the month is to kind of spread that awareness and make people be more aware of what's going on as things go forward in their lives. Writing on Monday about 3 things I think that are crucial to the awareness aspect. And the first is just recognizing that more people struggle with mental health than I think people initially think. That the numbers are out there, they are broad. I might even go as far as saying at some point in everybody's life, they probably face a moment where their mental health feels out of control or it feels like it's not managed well. Now, that might just be temporary because of a life stage, an unexpected event, a crisis, but nonetheless, it reaches that point where all the things we're talking about this month apply. And the things that can happen to reach help for individuals or in their own support network or even professionally all will exist. I think it's that broad that at some point everybody will or could benefit from it. Second is recognizing that as much as we talked about support groups and things last week, sometimes the biggest obstacle to getting help is just the beliefs people have in their own expectations of themselves, their own beliefs of themselves, whether it's false beliefs like I need to do everything myself, I don't need any help, or family of origin kind of messaging that you don't need to pay attention to your mental health or your emotional health. But many times it just comes down to the things people are thinking internally that keep them from asking for assistance. And then finally, I was writing about this idea, certainly biased as a counselor, to say people should go to counseling much sooner and for many more things than they actually do. And I get that can exist in the medical field too, that unless I'm actually can't function or stand up, I'm not going to the doctor. So it's not unique to mental health. But just as we say to people like, hey, you have that annual checkup with the doctor, go for it. It doesn't cost you anything. Establish yourself and be ready to go. I think mental health wise, it's the same thing. Like as soon as you feel some level of concern or you're feeling out of control, or you just have a question, you want to get some objective feedback, like that's a good time to go to a counselor. So saying it's like never something too small or too early to go get help. And I really want people to access it that quickly and easily, and in some future date, everyone just feels like, yeah, I could do that, not a problem. But we're certainly not there yet. So here are some of those stats that come from the article I shared that really stand out to me, I think, that illustrate some important aspects of Mental Health Awareness Month. The first one is this: more than 1 in 5 adults experience a mental health concern or a serious one each year. NAMI says it's about almost 30% of people. So when you're in a room, when you're, no matter where you go through the day, you just think, okay, a third of these people perhaps, up maybe that many, will experience something that they need help with. The second one, this one, as you've heard me maybe say through the times when we've been here, that it takes about 6 months for people who might get my information or my card and come get help. That was my number. So this one really stood out to me based on their results. It said the average delay of onset between the start of a mental health concern and treatment is 11 years for people. 11 years. So it just starts small and they think, I'm okay, I got it, I'm all right. But can you imagine 11 years dealing with something? Now, trust me, I think this is true with medical stuff too. People think, oh, it's not that bad, I'll be able to do it. Maybe the physical body shows up sooner than 11 years if there's going to be something that is profound and going. But mental health-wise, that number is quite concerning. Third one, about 35% of adults with mental health concerns have a substance abuse disorder as well. That one doesn't surprise me because alcohol always works in terms of I want to feel different, I want to feel better, I want to forget, or I want to numb up something. That makes sense. But if you combine those two things of some kind of mental health concern that's consuming and problematic and having consequence, and then you throw in on top of that a substance abuse problem, that's really hard to function and hard to do things. So have a cautious eye on those. We'll talk about that at the end of our time. Only 52% of adults who have a mental health concern received treatment in 2024. Maybe that illustrates the 11-year delay. That if people know they have it, only half of them roughly go get help. The other half kind of suffer by themselves or continue to grind through on those individual concerns. Here's one that I try and pay attention to. 154 million people live in a mental health professional shortage area. And then what that comes down to is ratio. So here's the example. Wisconsin on average has a 490 to 1 ratio of population to mental health provider, which certainly counts as job security for anyone in my field. But when you think about breaking it down through the 72 counties, came across the number for Portage County is 820 people to 1 provider. That's what's defining a professional shortage area for services. So pass that on to anyone thinking what they want to do with their career, thinking of this time of year, people graduating. Mental health provider has a lot of need, but that's pretty staggering. Final two, sorrowful, I guess. 40% of high school students experience persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness in 2023. On the surveys they do, they kind of do a general survey each year, whether in-house in a high school or professionally. There's some organizations that do that, but almost half of high school students experiencing that. That's a different Wednesday morning to talk about the cultural effects about why that's happening. But to some degree, that wasn't very surprising to me that it could be that high. And then finally, suicide was the 11th leading cause of death overall in the population in 2023. But when you break it down to 15 to 24-year-olds, it's the second leading cause of death for them. For kids, young adults who feel immortal and can do lots of things, I think the first one is accidents, like traumatic accidents, vehicle accidents. But the second leading cause is suicide. And 11th overall of all the health issues that exist, a personal choice that someone makes takes the life of that person. So some sobering stats, some broad ones, but these stand out. Again, the link I shared has several more. It even has a bunch of infographics kind of things. So one of those aspects this month, they do it that way so people can share it and be able to easily put an image up that illustrates all of these things. But very informative and again, a part of letting people know those main things from the email. More people struggle with mental health than you realize. Kind of get out of your own way and get some help. And then third, there's good reason to go get help sooner rather than later. So this idea of the final, just one question related to that, just simply saying, which one of those stats do you think is the most surprising or powerful to you that I read this morning? Which one of those kind of gets you to raise an eyebrow as well, just like they all did for me? Which one of those is the most concerning to you? Waiting 11 years, yeah. Yeah, waiting. And I don't want people to wait. Part of that reason, we'll talk next week specifically about how to get into counseling and what to do. But one of those things is there's so many waiting lists at clinics. And try and, despite my best efforts, I'll say, like, people don't have to wait at our clinic. We have 8 people. There's appointments this week. There's appointments probably today, those kind of things. So just trying to perpetually get the word out so people don't wait even months. And I know that's the case across the board. Trying to get medical providers or dental care sometimes can be like, oh, we'll see you in the fall. You know, it can be that way. But sometimes when it's elective to get help versus I need it now, then we don't want waiting lists for mental health. So the final comments here of why I think some of this is very, very important. I think that 11 years, if we start at that point, it's a slow kind of avalanche downhill, and people don't realize how bad it's getting. So that might be one of the reasons behind the 11-year piece, is people think I'm doing okay. But even to the people in their support network around them, maybe because they're hesitant to communicate or feel like they're going to feel like they're judging someone, or they avoid conflict. I think those are factors that allow things to go that long. And so it's hard to see how bad it is until you step into that situation fresh. It's just, that's the reality of how humans work. I don't want to have any conflict with anybody. I know that person is struggling, but I don't know how to reach out to them. And that person, you just watch them decline slowly over time. And that's a difficult thing to watch. But I'm saying it so people can realize this is only going to get worse. So now is a good time to reach out and try and get someone connected. Secondly, relating to clients who talk about this is real. After a while, it becomes difficult not to believe the negative things that are going through your mind. Right? People remember high school psychology class, and they just say, people just tell you a negative thing, and they say it enough, and you just start to believe it. Well, then just turn that volume up to 100 and realize that if someone's battling negative thoughts about themselves or their ability, and they hear it every day, all day long, after a while, it becomes just fact to them. Another reason why it might take 11 years to be able to get some help, because they just believe that it's real, and I'm helpless and I'm hopeless, and this is just my life. So another factor about why this month is important. And then finally, this idea of, if people can look at the part of life where they are, that everything, they're part of a system, whether it's a family system they're a part of, or the support network system they're a part of. So again, thinking, I was trying to talk about how do you take care of your body? Well, if you can envision the systems you're a part of as something, as a body to take care of, then it's a little bit more motivating to be able to reach out and get help for people like right now. So if you can look at the systems you're a part of as, that's part of my body, I want to take care of it because I care about that person, just like I care about the different parts of my body. It might be a way to intervene in that 11 years as well, because you see someone struggling and you want to be able to help, and you don't want one part of your body to struggle while the other part of your body is healthy. So just some suggestions here, and some maybe it's sobering facts, certainly sad facts about how mental health can just be pervasive and be pretty destructive. So read that article that's in the email a couple different times, maybe pass it on, share an infographic, those kind of things. That's just a way to be engaged, because you don't know, again, 30% of the people around you might really be struggling with mental health. And if you raise that kind of, you share that information, you raise it, maybe it just closes the gap and it gets someone willing to get help and start to bridge that, and then they're not suffering or struggling alone anymore. So a good week to try and empower all of you with information that helps those around you. And as I said, next week, our last week of Mental Health Awareness Month, we'll just talk about the specifics of getting help, how to do that, how to navigate that, because that might be another reason why people don't get help. They think, I can't afford it, or I don't know how to do it, or everyone is unavailable. So we'll talk through a pathway to get help when you need it, or to be able to get someone else help when they need it. Thank you.